What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 23 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got one pick wrong and got 23 right, which is a 95% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 95% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 23 picks right like me, win more bets or receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $750 just yesterday. Another member who won $200 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Ricardo Gioza 2981 who said let's cash out today, let's go, and shouts out to J Alexis Ramsey 7158 who said thank you so much for the win. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to win about is Andrew Nembhard, and this one is actually for 12.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Andrew Nembhard, we've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, this is a very interesting matchup because, as we all know, looking at these last 5 games, you see on May 5th, faced off against Cleveland, where he had 23 points there. Then on May 7th, against Cleveland again, had 13 points. Next game after that, on May 10th, had 10 points. Then 7 points on May 12th. And then May 14th, had 18 points there. So we definitely have seen Nembhard go on the under in 2 out of the last 5. And his average over the last 5 is 14.2. Now, they did face off against, Cleveland in his last 5 games, but now they have a different matchup because this is actually the Eastern Conference Finals as they go up and face off against the New York Knicks. Now, looking at both of these teams, starting off with the Pacers, we did see Pacers come in at the 4th spot in the Eastern Conference with a record of 50-32. They did a fantastic job there, having a 61% win percentage. And on top of that, they also did have a very good record at home because they had a 29-11 record. Now, they face off against the Knicks. Now, Knicks are actually 1 slot above them because they actually are ranked 3rd. So, Knicks ranked 3rd with a 51-31 record. So, only 1 game behind, or 1 game in front of Pacers in that sense. And they had a 62.2% win percentage. So it definitely has been a big, playoff run for both of these teams. We saw the Pacers do a really good job. They were able to knock out the Bucks in round 1, which was fantastic. Then moved on into facing a very tough Cleveland team and were able to take them down. And then when you look at the Knicks path, we saw Knicks take down, Detroit Pistons in a very good series. Then moving on from that, we're able to take down the 2nd seed Boston, and now they face off against the 4th seed Pacers. So both of these, teams have definitely had a really good road to the actual conference finals in the Eastern Conference. So it's definitely been an interesting game there. Now, looking at New York Knicks and where they rank, we do know that New York Knicks, when it comes to points allowed, they do actually rank 9th. So they rank very high when it comes to restricting points allowed, and that is a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Andrew Nembhard is a great player, and on top of that, although he is a great player, we are expecting Knicks' defense to be, very tough for someone like Andrew to really get going. Now, Andrew doesn't really have the highest usage rate in the points department. There are other players in this Indiana team that definitely have a higher usage rate, and we definitely see that being a big problem here. Now, Andrew tends to play that small forward position, and Knicks actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the small forward position as well. So that definitely helps out our case here. Now, looking at this matchup even further, looking at actually their past matchups, we do see that Andrew Nembhard has actually averaged 5 points, 2.5 steals, 2 assists in the 2 games they faced off against Knicks this season. But looking more closely at those 2 games that he has played, they played each other on October 25th of last year, and he only had 2 points in that matchup. So went on the under in that situation. Then faced off against them again on February 11th, where he had 8 points in that matchup, so also went on the under there. So we saw him go on the under in both of those games, and although Nembhard's usage rate has definitely been good in that Cleveland series, it is definitely a different ball game. And now that they face off against the Knicks, like what we have seen from the past from Knicks, doing a great job restricting Andrew Nembhard, especially, due to the fact that he does play that small forward position, we should see this happen once again. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one. This one's kind of a no-brainer to us. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have him favored for the under as well. So Andrew Nembhard, 12.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about OG Anunoby. So as you all know, guys, as well, this is going to be the only game for today. As you all know, there are only 4 teams left in the playoffs, so there is only one game pretty much each and every single day until these series ends. So, that's why they're all from the same game. But OG Anunoby, this one is a great one for points as well for 16.5, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at OG Anunoby, we have seen him do a fantastic job. We actually have seen OG go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, we see on May 8th, faced off against Boston, where he had 5 points there. Then on May 11th, faced off against Boston again, where he had 2 points. Then May 13th, faced off against Boston, where he had 20 points actually in that matchup, which was a big game for him there. Moving on into the next game after that, on May 15th, had 6 points, and then had 23 points on May 17th. So we have seen him go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, and his average over the last 5 is also 11.2, so significantly below this line as well. So we have talked about the matchup between both of these teams before. New York Knicks do rank well, so do Indiana, and this is going to be game 1 of this conference series. Now, obviously, it is going to be Knicks' home court first, so that is definitely going to be a big game for both of these teams. But looking at Indiana Pacers, we do see that the Pacers do rank 17th when it comes to points allowed. So the Pacers do rank pretty mid-tier when it comes to, restricting points, but a big reason why we do like the under for this situation here is due to the fact that when it comes to OG, he tends to play that small forward position. What we have seen in the past is that OG does play that small forward, but Pacers actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the small forward position. So we are expecting and should see someone like OG probably struggle in this matchup. Now, OG's usage rate in the points department is definitely very unpredictable. There are some games where he has a good usage rate, other games where he doesn't. However, most of the time, as we've seen in that series against Boston, we actually saw him play more of that defensive role. He didn't really need to do too much of the scoring because you already got Brunson, you already got players like Karl-Anthony Towns who do a majority of the scoring. And especially in this first game, or game 1, we are expecting a similar outcome similar to that. So we could see OG play more of a defensive role coming into this matchup, which should also lead him to the under due to less usage rate there. Now, looking at OG against the Pacers this season, we've actually seen him average 19.5 points, 4 rebounds, 1.5 assists in those 2 games against the Pacers, because when we look further, we do see OG Anunoby does rank, pretty well. However, he did only have 14 points in that first game that they did play each other, which was on October 25th. Only had 14 points there. Now, they did face off again in November 10th, and he actually had 25 points in that matchup. So, we actually did see him go on the under in the first game, went on the over in the second, but we should see him go on the under in this next one. Now, looking at someone like OG as well, like I mentioned before, his usage rate in the points department hasn't really been the highest, during this whole playoff run. Yes, there will be times he has good games, and yes, that is the case. However, those are definitely a little bit more unpredictable coming into this first game, especially, I think the first game is very important as it does set the tone for the rest of the series. I do believe, Knicks are going to go to their main guys, whether that's Brunson, whether that's Karl-Anthony Towns, to, really carry the load on scoring. So for that reason, looking at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have a favorite for the under as well. So we do like that there. So OG Anunoby, 16.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. Now getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Tyrese Haliburton. So like I mentioned, all from the same game. Now this one is a great one for Tyrese because this is actually for 3 points made. This one's actually for 2.5 3 points made, and this one is for less. Now looking at Tyrese, we've actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on May 5th, faced off against Cleveland, where he had 2 3-pointers made there. And then May 7th had 2 3-pointers made there. Then had 0 3-pointers made on May 10th as well, which was interesting to see after that. Then moving into May 12th, had 1 3-pointers made, and then had 6 3-points made in May 14th, where he did go a little bit crazy, like I mentioned with those 6 3-pointers. But overall, we did see him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5, and his average over the last 5 is also 2.2. So for that reason, we do also see not only have we seen him go on the under more consistently than the over, we also have seen that his average over the last 5 is under his line as well. Now, talking about this Indiana and Knicks matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one, especially in this first game. Now, when we actually look at the actual defensive, I would say, rankings for New York Knicks, we do see the Knicks when it comes to actually 3-point percentages allowed. We do see New York Knicks do rank 26. Now, 3-point attempts allowed, we see New York Knicks actually rank 5th. And then also 3 points made allowed, we also see the Knicks rank 10th. So, surprisingly, they do actually rank, lower in that, 3-point percentage allowed. However, 3-point attempts allowed, 3 points made allowed, New York Knicks actually do a really good job defensively, and that's why we do see someone like Tyrese going on the under here. Next, Knicks also just do a fantastic job at restricting the 3-ball to the guard position and point guard position at that, and that is what Tyrese tends to usually play. We definitely see that being a big issue due to the fact that when we look at Tyrese, we are expecting a lot of the defensive focus that Knicks are going to give him going to be towards trying to restrict him as much as they can, points, playmaking, and even rebound wise. Now, we have seen New York Knicks do that in pretty much all of their series so far. They tend to try to slow down the star players as much as they can, let other players pretty much do the heavy lifting, but they are expecting to get the win from doing this sort of strategy. So we are expecting that from game 1, and for that reason, especially from the 3-ball, which Tyrese tends to not really just rely on the 3-ball at times. Yes, he does have some games where he goes off on the 3. Yes, that is true, but Tyrese's game is definitely a lot of playmaking as well, a lot of drives, a lot of mid-ranges. So for that reason, we do still like the under, as we don't think Knicks are going to give him enough opportunities to be able to go on the over. So that's why we are sticking to the under here. Now, looking at Tyrese Haliburton, we've actually seen him play against Knicks 3 times this season. He had 17 points, 9 assists, 2.7 rebounds average over these last 3 games against Knicks of this season. Now, looking at their first game, they did play against each other on October 25th, and he had 0 3-pointers made there, and he actually shot 7. So he shot a lot, missed a lot in that. Then faced off again on November 10th, and then that matchup had only 4 3-pointers made, so it did go on the over on that line. And on February 11th, actually had 2 3-pointers made. So he did go on the under in 2 out of those 3 games, which I thought was interesting to see. That's definitely a really good sign to us on why we do like the under, and we definitely are sticking to the under for this situation here. So definitely keep an eye out for his line. When you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have him favored for the under as well. So Tyrese Haliburton, 2.5 3-pointers made for less, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Josh Hart. So as you all know, Josh Hart is a great player for the New York Knicks. He's done a fantastic job all season, and we've actually seen him average 13.6 points, 9.6 rebounds, 5.9 assists, while also shooting 52.5% 45% from the field. So he's definitely done a fantastic job there. He ranks 75th in points, 13th in rebounds, 22nd in assists, and then 20th in field goal percentage. So he's definitely done a fantastic job. He ranks top 100 in all, three or technically four categories, which I thought was great to see. But Josh Hart and the New York Knicks do face off against the Indiana Pacers. Now, just to quickly reiterate where both of these teams are at, Knicks do come in at the third spot in the Eastern Conference with a 51-31 record, 62.2% win percentage, so they will actually have the home court advantage for this series. And then they face off against the Pacers, who did come in at the fourth spot with a 50-32 record, so only one game behind with a 61% win percentage. Now, both of these teams have definitely had a great journey to the conference finals. Knicks did have to knock out some pretty tough teams and knocked out Detroit. They also knocked out Boston, so it definitely was a tough battle for him. And then you also have the Pacers on the other side, who knocked out Milwaukee Bucks and also knocked out the Cavaliers. So it definitely was a very, very long journey and a big journey for both of these teams. And we definitely see, New York Knicks making it a big statement coming into this first game. Now, looking at Josh Hart and also the Indiana Pacers matchup, we do see Indiana Pacers, when it comes to points allowed, we see that they rank 17th. Now, when it comes to assists allowed, we also see that the Pacers rank 12th, and then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Pacers rank 22nd. Now, when it comes to someone like Josh Hart, we do actually like the over for this situation here, but I definitely would focus a little bit more on points and rebounds in this case. A big reason being is that Pacers do rank a little bit better in that assist category, and we definitely could see Josh Hart maybe struggle at times due to the fact that Pacers do rank a little bit better. But Pacers, when it comes to points, when it comes to rebounds, they do a pretty poor job at restricting that, and we definitely see someone like Josh Hart being able to take advantage of this and going on the over here. Now, obviously, looking at both of these teams, Knicks and Pacers, is definitely going to be a great game. But looking at, Josh Hart in the most recent series, which was against the Boston Celtics, we did see, a very interesting stat lines from him. Now, obviously, this is a different team, but Boston Celtics in Game 2, when they did play them, 91-90 victory. He had 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists there. When we look at Game 3 against Boston, where they lost 115-93, he had 10 points, 3 assists, and 6 rebounds in that matchup. Then in Game 4, 121-113 win, had 6 points, 5 assists, and 9 rebounds there. Then in Game 5, had a 127-102 loss, where he had 24 points, 2 assists, and 7 rebounds. And then in Game 6, where they were able to close it out, they had 119-81 win, where he had 10 points, 11 assists, and 11 rebounds there. So both these teams have definitely had some time to also rest. So they are definitely going to come into this game fresh. But looking at Josh Hart's usage rate in that series against Boston, it definitely does remain very high even against tough defensive teams. Now, obviously, when we look at the defense of Boston, they are actually, a higher defensive team than Pacers. And the fact that he was able to do so well, we should see Josh Hart in this matchup, especially against Pacers, who do rank worse in defense. We should see him be able to go on the over on some of his lines. So like I mentioned, you definitely want to keep an eye out for points and rebounds. Now, assists is just a little bit more unlikely due to the fact that Pacers do rank a little bit high defensively, so we definitely could see a different outcome there. Now, when we look at, also Josh Hart and the Pacers matchup as well, we are also expecting still a good amount of usage rate from Josh Hart in this series. Obviously, each series is very different. They are going to play different players at different times, but Josh Hart's minutes, we do believe that he will fit the bill when it comes to fitting this matchup and have an integral part to this series for sure. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Josh Hart. Like always mentioned, keep an eye out for the line first. The line is under his averages. Definitely look to go on the over, so definitely see a lot of great value there. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Myles Turner. So Myles Turner, great player for none other than the Indiana Pacers. And we all know how fantastic he's been all season. We did see him average actually 15.6 points, which is great to see. 6.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, while also shooting 48.1% from the field. So he's definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like, Myles Turner, rank-wise, we've also have seen him do a great job because he did rank 60th when it came to points, 35th when it came to rebounds, rebounds and the 150th plus when it came to assists. So we saw him do a great job there. Now he also ranked 48th in field goal percentage, which I think is definitely a big one to look out for as well. And then on top of that, when you also look further, Indiana Pacers do face off against, none other than the New York Knicks. So this is definitely going to be a very exciting matchup between both of these teams. Now looking at someone like Myles Turner and also, the Knicks matchup, we do see that New York Knicks, they do rank pretty well in all three categories. We do see actually in points allowed, we see that the Knicks do rank 9th. Assists allowed, we see also Knicks rank 7th. And then rebounds allowed, we also see the Knicks rank 2nd. So they rank very good in all three categories. Now, when it comes to Indiana Pacers, obviously, they are a big team and they do like to, use Myles Turner in a sense of, providing those boards for this team and getting a couple of buckets here and there. However, looking at this game and the fact that New York Knicks actually do a fantastic job when it actually comes to restricting points, rebounds, and assists, we do actually like the under for this situation here. When it comes to someone like Myles Turner, we definitely do like the under in all three categories. We definitely see him potentially going on the under in all those three due to the fact that when we look at Myles Turner, we also do see that he does have a little bit of a lower usage rate in assist. We may not see a line come out for assists, so I think points and rebounds is definitely where you want to keep an eye out for. Now, looking at Myles Turner as well, we do see against Cleveland and that series, we have seen him play some pretty big games. We saw in game 1 against Cleveland where they won 121-112. He had 13 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist there. Then in game 2 had 120-119 victory where he had 23 points, 1 assist and 8 rebounds there. Then in game 3, 126-104, where he had 15 points, 0 assists and 3 rebounds there. And then game 4 had 129-109 victory, where he had 20 points, 3 assists and 7 rebounds there. Then in game 5 had a 114-105 win, where he had 10 points, 0 assists and 7 rebounds there. So we've actually seen him do a fantastic job, when it comes to this. We obviously have seen him play some pretty big games. Other games he wasn't able to provide as much, and especially in that series he definitely did play an integral part. But coming into this next one against the Knicks is definitely going to be a bit of a different series. We should definitely see New York Knicks really hone in and try to restrict him as much as they can. Now Knicks obviously have some really great bigs, Karl-Anthony Towns being one of them, Mitchell Robinson as well, and they do like to mix things up. Even Josh Hart sometimes plays power forward, but Knicks actually do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds and assists to the big man position. So we definitely see that being a big case here, which is why we do like the under for a situation like this. So for someone like Myles Turner, we do like the under. Now keep an eye out for his line. Now I think points and rebounds, you may see a line come out for those two. Assist, it may be too low that you may not see a line come out, but like I always mentioned with the lines, if it is too close to his averages, definitely look to go on the under. So definitely see a lot of great value there. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Karl-Anthony Towns. So, as we all know, Cat, great player for New York Knicks. Now, he's been averaging 24.4 points in the regular season, 12.8 rebounds, 3.1 assists, while also shooting 52.6% from the field. So, he's definitely done a fantastic job. And when it comes to, the New York Knicks and having acquired Karl-Anthony Towns, Towns has definitely been a huge addition for them. Now, looking at where he actually ranked, he ranked 12th when it came to points, 2nd in rebounds, 80th in assists, and then 19th when it comes to field goal percentage. So he definitely has done a fantastic job, in all those categories. Now looking at someone like Karl-Anthony Towns, we do see the New York Knicks do run him at the center position, sometimes plays power forward. And looking at the Pacers, just to reiterate again, looking at them defensively, we do see the Pacers do rank 17th when it comes to points allowed. Assists allowed, we do actually see them ranked 12th, and then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Pacers do rank pretty low as they rank 22nd. So they rank pretty low in those categories. When it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns, however, we do actually very much like the over for, the points situation and also the rebounds. So like we mentioned before, when it actually comes to Pacers, they do rank a little bit lower in those two categories. They rank a little bit higher in assists, so that's why some of the picks we are staying away from. But a big reason why we like this is due to the fact that when we look at the New York Knicks, we do also see that, Like I mentioned, Karl-Anthony Towns plays that big man position, usually plays center, but Pacers do struggle against restricting points and rebounds to the big man position. So we see someone like Karl-Anthony Towns being able to take advantage of this and go on the over in this situation here. When we look at Cat as well and looking at his past games or over the last 5 games, it was against Boston. We saw in game 2 a 91-90 victory where he had 21 points, 17 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then in game 3 had 115-93 loss where he had 21 points, 15 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Then in game 4 had a 121-113 victory where he had 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then in game 5 had 19 points, 0 assists, and 8 rebounds. Then in game 6 had 21 points, 12 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So we have actually seen him go, pretty well in some of those games, one on the under in some of the others. But looking at this next matchup, especially against the Pacers, now Pacers are a great team and they wouldn't have made it this far if they weren't a great team, but they do still allow a lot of points and rebounds. They like to play fast-paced type basketball, and the fact that that is the case, we can see someone like Karl-Anthony Towns, really getting up there in the scoreboard, whether it's points or even, the rebounding category. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here for someone like Karl-Anthony Towns, but definitely keep an eye out for the points and rebounds department.